Every morning, when your eyes first open, you stand at the threshold of two worlds. One world is the silent realm of dreams, where symbols whisper, where the soul wanders, where the unconscious still lingers like fog before the dawn. The other is the waking world, full of noise, demands, chaos, and distraction. And in the space between them lies a gate, a hidden passage that only a few ever see. It lasts just moments, fragile, fleeting, but powerful. The Stoics, the sages, the mystics of every age knew this gate is the secret to control, because in those first minutes after waking, the mind is naked, unguarded, and deeply programmable. Most people stumble through this passage unconsciously. They reach for their phones, they dive into noise, they hand their mind to the world before they have even claimed it for themselves. And so their day belongs not to them, but to everyone and everything else. But the rare ones, the 1%, they guard this gate. They know that whoever owns the morning owns the mind, and whoever owns the mind owns destiny. This is the morning's secret the ancients tried to pass down. Not a routine, not a hack, not another trick, but a law of the soul. Seize the first light, and you seize total control of your life. Now let us step deeper into why nearly everyone fails at this, and how the awakened learn to rise differently. Look around you. Most people wake up already defeated. The alarm screams, they hit snooze. Not once, but again and again. They rise heavy, already exhausted, though the day has barely begun. And the very first thing they touch is not their breath, not their thoughts, not their soul, but a glowing screen. In that instant, their mind is captured. Before they have even taken one conscious breath, they are dragged into other people's opinions, other people's agendas, other people's chaos. They are not living, they are reacting. And this single mistake, repeated every morning, writes the script of their entire life, always one step behind, always consumed by noise, always wondering why they feel powerless. The ancients warned of this. Marcus Aurelius whispered to himself at dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I am rising to do the work of a human being. But most people forget they are human beings. They wake like machines, programmed by habit, driven by impulse, pulled by forces they do not see. This is why so few rise with power, why so few walk into the day awake. They do not guard the gate, they leave it unprotected, and the world rushes in to steal it. This is the tragedy of the lost hours. And yet, hidden within it lies a possibility. Because if you can reclaim the first moments of morning, you can reclaim your mind. And once the mind is reclaimed, everything else bends to your will. The question is, how? The answer lies in the unseen force that governs those first minutes after waking, the deep programming of the subconscious. When you wake, you are not fully awake. The mind lingers in a twilight state, half dream, half reality. Science calls it the theta state. The ancients called it the veil between worlds. The Stoics, the mystics, the sages, all knew its power. In this state, the gates of the subconscious are open, and whatever enters sinks deep. Words, images, thoughts. They do not simply pass through you. They plant themselves and grow into the roots of who you become. This is why the morning is holy. It is not just the start of a day. It is the programming of the soul. If the first thing you see is chaos, you will carry chaos. If the first thing you hear is noise, you will echo with noise. If the first thing you touch is distraction, you will be pulled apart all day. But if you guard these minutes with discipline, if you fill them with silence, with breath, with intention, the subconscious bends to your will, and the rest of the day bends with it. The sages of the East rose before dawn to meditate. The Stoics journaled at first light, shaping their minds with reason. The warriors of old trained their bodies in the cold of morning, forging strength before the world could touch them. They all knew the same truth. The way you wake is the way you live, and only the rare few dare to wake as masters, while the many stumble awake as slaves. The third law of the morning is this: protect your first hour as if your life depends on it, because it does. Now, let us step deeper into the practices of the ancients, the hidden disciplines of morning that gave them control not just over the day, but over destiny itself. The ancients did not stumble into their mornings. They entered them like sacred rituals. Each dawn was a ceremony, a deliberate shaping of the mind and the soul. The Stoics, the yogis, the mystics of the East, all practiced morning disciplines that modern eyes often overlook. But within these practices lies the secret of mastery. The first law was silence. Before words, before noise, before the world rushed in, they sat in stillness. Because silence is not emptiness, it is alignment. It clears the fog of dreams and prepares the soul for clarity. The second law was breath. The yogis taught that the first breaths of morning set the rhythm of life. Slow, deep, intentional breaths anchor the mind, while shallow, frantic breathing enslaves it to fear and haste. The third law was writing. Marcus Aurelius wrote his meditations at dawn, not for an audience, not for applause, but to shape his own mind, to remind himself of virtue, to set intentions, to guard against the weakness of the day. The fourth law was movement, not frantic exercise, but deliberate awakening of the body. For the body is not separate from the mind. It is the vessel through which the mind acts. A weak vessel weakens the spirit. A strong vessel sharpens it. And the fifth law was remembrance. The Stoics called it memento mori, the reminder that death could come at any moment, that the sunrise you see today may be your last. And in that remembrance, life becomes fierce, present, alive. These were not empty rituals. They were weapons, tools to seize the morning before the morning could seize them, and through them, they became unshakable. The fourth truth of the morning is this: do not wander into the day, enter it with sacred discipline, and the day will bow to your command. Now, having seen the ancient ways, we must confront a deeper question. Why do so few follow them? Why do only 1% rise in power, while the rest remain chained to the chaos of habit? If the morning is the key to control, why do so few ever turn it? The answer is simple, but brutal. Because most people fear themselves. Silence terrifies them. In stillness, they hear the noise of their own mind, so they reach for distraction. They bury the discomfort beneath glowing screens and endless chatter. Discipline repels them. They crave ease, they crave comfort, and so they hit snooze, drift back to sleep, and surrender their first battle before it even begins. Remembrance of death unsettles them. They do not want to face their mortality, so they drown themselves in denial, pretending tomorrow is guaranteed, pretending there will always be more time. This is why the many remain chained. They would rather serve habit than master it. They would rather live in reaction than step into creation. They would rather waste the sacred first hour than face the truth of who they are. But the rare ones, the 1%, they choose differently. They do not run from silence. They enter it. They do not chase comfort. They embrace discomfort. They do not deny death. They let it sharpen their life. And because of this, they rise each morning as masters, while the rest rise as slaves. This is the dividing line. Not wealth, not status, not privilege, but the courage to face the morning as it truly is, the forge of the soul. The fifth truth of the morning is this: most will remain asleep, even while awake. But the 1% choose to awaken, and in doing so, they seize control of life itself. Now let us go deeper still. into the exact steps, the hidden practices that transform an ordinary morning into a weapon of power. The morning is not meant to be stumbled into. It must be claimed, shaped, forged, and those who know how to wield it become unshakable throughout the day. The ancients left us a blueprint, a ritual of power, not superstition, not routine for routine's sake, but practices that strike directly at the roots of the mind. Step 1. Wake with intention. Do not delay. Do not hide beneath the blanket of comfort. Rise as if summoned by destiny. For every time you resist the call of dawn, you weaken the warrior within. Step 2. Guard silence. No phone, no noise, no rushing into chaos. Sit in stillness for a few moments. Let the mind settle like a lake after storm. In this silence, your thoughts align and your soul remembers its center. Step 3. Command the breath. The first breaths of the day shape the rhythm of the mind. Inhale deeply, exhale slowly. Feel the body awaken, feel the heart steady. This is how you remind yourself, you are not a machine, you are alive. Step 4. Write your mind. The Stoics journaled at dawn for a reason. Empty the clutter. Write your fears, your intentions, your reminders. Anchor yourself in virtue before the world tests you. Step 5. Move with discipline. Do not let your body remain heavy. Stretch, train, walk. Feel the pulse of life within you. Every drop of sweat is a declaration. I am ready. Step 6. Remember death. Whisper to yourself, this sunrise may be my last. And let that truth sharpen every moment that follows. This ritual is not long. It is not complicated, but it is sacred. And practiced daily, it forges a mind the world cannot bend. The sixth truth of the morning is this: treat it not as routine, but as ritual. For rituals shape destiny, while habits only repeat the past. And now, with the ritual revealed, we step into the final truth, the one lesson that crowns them all. If you conquer the morning, you conquer life. You have now seen what so few ever will. The secret is not hidden in fortune, not buried in books, not guarded by temples. It is here, in the morning. In the first fragile moments after waking, most will waste them. They will rise in chaos, in noise, in distraction. They will hand over their mind before they even claim it. And for the rest of the day, they will live as prisoners of reaction. But you, if you choose, can be different. You can wake as the ancients did. You can guard the gate of dawn. You can breathe with intention, write with clarity, move with discipline, and live with the fire of remembrance. For the Stoics were right. Each day is a life. And if you can master one morning, you can master one life. The morning is not just a beginning, it is a throne. Sit upon it with strength, or abandon it and watch your kingdom fall. The final truth is this: only 1% will awaken. But those who do, those who seize the morning as their own, they seize control not just of their day, but of destiny itself. The sun rises, the gate opens, the choice is before you. Will you stumble into the day half asleep, or will you rise awake, alive, unshakable? Choose well, for how you rise is how you live.